In the 1950s, Hollywood fixers were paid up to $1,000 a week. That's about $10,000 today to keep scandals out of the press. What do you make in a week? Let us know in the comments. But not all secrets can be kept hidden. Today, we're diving into the scandals that slipped through the cracks and shocked the world. The golden age of Hollywood, a time when the silver screen was truly silver and movie stars were larger than life. Spanning from the late 1920s to the early 1960s, this era was a defining period for American cinema. The introduction of sound in films, the rise of the studio system, and the allure of the big screen captivated audiences nationwide. But behind the scenes, the golden age was anything but golden. The studio system, which was the backbone of Hollywood's success, was also its dark underbelly. Major studios like MGM, Warner Brothers, and Paramount had immense control over their stars' lives, both on and off the screen. Contracts were often exploitative, and actors had little say in their career trajectories. This power imbalance created a breeding ground for scandals, as studios sometimes went to great lengths to protect their investments, even if it meant covering up unsavory truths. The Hays Code, a set of moral guidelines for filmmaking, added another layer of complexity. While it censored what could be shown on screen, it did little to regulate the lives of those making the movies. This led to a dichotomy where the on-screen personas of actors were saintly, but their real lives could be fraught with scandal. The scandalous affairs, love and lust, the ingredients for some of Hollywood's most tantalizing tales. But when these elements mix with fame and fortune, they often lead to scandalous affairs that capture the public's imagination. Let's delve into a couple of affairs that shook the golden age of Hollywood to its core. First on our list is the infamous love triangle involving Elizabeth Taylor, Eddie Fisher, and Debbie Reynolds. Elizabeth Taylor, already a screen siren, found herself in the eye of a media storm when she began an affair with Eddie Fisher, who was then married to America's sweetheart, Debbie Reynolds. The affair led to Fisher divorcing Reynolds and marrying Taylor, causing a scandal that was the talk of the town for years. Another affair that caught a lot of momentum was Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini. Bergman, known for her roles in classics like Casablanca, shocked the world when she began an affair with Italian director Roberto Rossellini while still married to Petter Lindstrom. The affair not only led to a child, but also to Bergman being denounced on the floor of the United States Senate. She was virtually blacklisted in Hollywood for several years before making a triumphant return. Financial scandals. When it comes to Hollywood, money talks. But sometimes the talk turns into whispers of financial scandals that have left indelible marks on the industry. Let's delve into two such instances that involve well-known figures and their financial woes. First, let's talk about Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling star of films like The Adventures of Robin Hood. Flynn was not just famous for his on-screen heroics, he was infamous for his financial troubles. In 1942, Flynn was sued by the U.S. government for income tax evasion. The case was held at the U.S. District Court in Los Angeles, and although Flynn was acquitted, his reputation took a significant hit. A financial scandal that shook the industry was the one involving Judy Garland, the star of The Wizard of Oz. Garland faced financial ruin multiple times in her life, despite her enormous success. One of the most notable instances was in 1964 when she filed for bankruptcy, citing debts of over $4 million in today's money. The bankruptcy filing took place in a New York court and was widely covered in newspapers like the New York Times. Both Flynn and Garland's financial scandals were more than mere rumors. They were well-documented legal matters that had significant impacts on their careers and personal lives. As we continue to explore Hollywood's shadiest moments, it becomes clear that the glamour often hid a multitude of sins, financial and otherwise. Censorship and the Hays Code. In an era where on-screen kisses couldn't last more than 3 seconds, the Hays Code was the moral compass guiding Hollywood storytelling. Officially implemented in 1934, the code set strict guidelines on what was permissible in films, from depictions of crime to portrayals of sexual relationships. But how did this censorship impact the lives and careers of Golden Age actors? Let's start with Mae West, the actress famous for her risque roles and one-liners. Her 1933 film She'd Done Him Wrong, based on her own play, was a box office hit but also a code violator. The film was produced before the code's strict enforcement, but was later severely edited to comply with its guidelines. Mae West found herself under scrutiny, and her later films were heavily censored, affecting her career trajectory. Another example is the 1932 film Red-Headed Woman, starring Jean Harlow. The film was initially rejected by the Hays office for its explicit content, particularly its portrayal of a home-wrecking secretary. After significant edits, the film was finally approved, but not without causing a stir in the industry and among audiences. The Hays Code was more than just a set of rules. It was a cultural force that shaped the narratives and characters of Hollywood's golden age. While it maintained a certain public morality, it also led to the suppression of artistic expression and contributed to the scandals and controversies we're exploring today. The dark side of fame. Fame often comes at a price, and for some of Hollywood's golden age stars, that price was steep. The spotlight's glare could be unforgiving, revealing not just talent but also vulnerabilities. Let's explore how the pressures of fame led to scandalous behavior in two iconic figures, Marilyn Monroe and Humphrey Bogart. Marilyn Monroe, the blonde bombshell known for films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot, struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues. Her marriages, including one to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio and another to playwright Arthur Miller, were fraught with difficulties and became tabloid fodder. Monroe's untimely death in 1962, ruled as a probable suicide, remains one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries. Then there's Humphrey Bogart, the star of classics like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon. Bogart was known for his heavy drinking, a habit that was well documented in the press. His drinking often led to altercations, including a notable incident in 1943 at the Brown Derby restaurant in Los Angeles, where he got into a physical fight with a fellow patron. Both Monroe and Bogart's struggles were not mere rumors. They were well-documented events that had significant impacts on their personal lives and careers. As we delve deeper into the shadiest moments of Hollywood's golden age, it becomes increasingly clear that fame was both a blessing and a curse, often leading to tragic outcomes. The cover-ups. In an industry where image is everything, Hollywood studios often acted as gatekeepers, carefully curating the public personas of their stars. But what happened when those stars found themselves embroiled in scandal? Enter the fixers, the behind-the-scenes operatives tasked with damage control. One of the most notorious fixers was Eddie Mannix, a general manager at MGM. Mannix was known for his ruthless efficiency in handling scandals. One of his most famous cases involved actress Lana Turner and the death of her lover, Johnny Stompanato, in 1958. Stompanato was stabbed to death in Turner's Beverly Hills home, and it was Mannix who orchestrated the narrative that it was Turner's daughter who had committed the act in self-defense. The story was sold to the press, and Turner's career miraculously survived the scandal. Another cover-up example is Patricia Douglas, a young extra who accused an MGM sales executive of sexual assault during a studio party in 1937. The studio, with the help of fixers, managed to bury the story and discredit Douglas, effectively ending her career while protecting their own reputation in return. Jean Harlow and Paul Byrne. In 1932, Jean Harlow, one of MGM's brightest stars, faced a scandal that could have ended her career. Her husband, MGM producer Paul Byrne, was found dead in their Beverly Hills home. The initial shock of the discovery sent ripples through the studio, which had significant investments in Harlow's films. MGM's fixers, led by Eddie Mannix, sprang into action. They arrived at the scene even before the police did, cleaning up evidence and reportedly planting a suicide note that was later presented to the authorities. The studio then orchestrated a narrative focusing on Byrne's supposed impotence and emotional issues, steering the story away from Harlow. This cover-up was not just about protecting an investment, it was about maintaining the illusion of Hollywood glamour. The scandal could have been a dark stain on the fabric of the studio system, but thanks to the cover-up, Harlow's career not only survived, but thrived. Clark Gable and the car accident. Clark Gable, known as the King of Hollywood, was at the height of his career in 1933 when he found himself in a precarious situation. He was involved in a car accident that resulted in the death of a pedestrian. MGM, where Gable was under contract, knew that such a scandal could jeopardize not only Gable's future, but also the studio's. They acted swiftly, finding a stand-in to take the blame for the accident. This individual faced the legal repercussions, allowing Gable to walk away unscathed. The incident was so effectively hushed up that it didn't make the headlines, preserving Gable's reputation and ensuring his continued success in the industry. Robert Mitchum's drug arrest. Robert Mitchum, a rising star in 1948, faced a scandal that threatened to derail his career when he was arrested for marijuana possession. RKO Studios, where Mitchum was contracted, knew they had to act fast. They launched a public relations campaign to rehabilitate Mitchum's image. Photos were staged, showing him engaged in community service and expressing remorse. The studio even arranged for favorable coverage in select media outlets, painting Mitchum as a reformed man who had learned from his mistakes. The campaign was a resounding success. Mitchum returned to acting, and his career continued to flourish, with the scandal becoming a mere footnote in his long and storied career.